I'm joined with Jessica Miller, who's the CEO of the Winnipeg Humane Society. And Jessica, there was something that happened over the weekend at the Humane Society. So for someone who maybe didn't know the details of what that is, can you just explain it?
Yes, of course. So on Sunday morning, some of our early morning staff that start at about 7 a.m., those staff consist of our emergency and investigations team. They came into our back east parking lot, which is kind of referred to as our staff parking lot. So behind the building to find, quite the array of animals. There was a box kind of right in the middle of the parking lot that was tipped over that had cat food there with nothing in it. About 50 feet north of that, there was a dog tied to a tree by a rope. And as they were looking for what they thought may have been in the box, cats, kittens, or both, they found another box full of 6 rats in front of our intake department, which is closer to the front of our building. So it was quite shocking and surprising to see all these different species being dropped off, abandoned overnight in different parts of our property. And so we were able to recover 1 cat and 2 kittens. And so we're not sure if there was more than that, but we were able to bring them in. And then, of course, the rats and the dog. So it was just, yeah, it was quite the scene. It was unexpected. We didn't know if it was happening from one person or if it just happened to be that night that several people ended up bringing their pets to us in a different way than we usually intake them.
Does this happen often, would you say?
Yeah, so we do see about 1 or 2 surrenders to our building monthly. And so, it could be multiple animals, a animal, but we're seeing it once or twice a month. So, it's not completely uncommon, but to see so many different species kind of scattered amongst the property was what was odd about this case. And, there was lots of talk on social media and in the media about people are at their wits' end, they're desperate, they don't know what to do anymore. And yeah, I mean, I absolutely hear that. We are definitely to that point with our intake. We have been full for a very long time, and I know that's really frustrating for the public and people who have needs, but I just wanted to make it clear that we do have programs that we consider emergency programs that could have helped some of these animals in terms of the rats. The woman had left a note saying that she was fleeing a domestic violence situation. And we do have a very specific program to help that. It's called Safe Pet, where we will intake your animals, keep your privacy, and hold them until you're in a more stable state and give them back to you. So we would prefer having those conversations during the day to just maintain the animal's highest welfare. In terms of, if someone is in hospital or they get sick, we have an emergency boarding program where we can take on those animals while they heal and give them back. The dog, it had said the person had to go away for work. And so in that case, they probably would have had to join our waiting list, which it sounds like well, just to be clear, we had looked back into our call log and didn't have any calls for these animals to be surrendered. And so we're assuming that people are assuming that we are full, which is true. So in terms of that animal, we would have had to put it on a wait list, or we have a ton of partner rescues and different organizations that we work with that we can guide people, if they give us a chance to speak to them on the phone during our working hours to try to help them, best as we can, because, we don't want to turn them away. We know how frustrating that is. And, the comment saying, well, they would have just turned you away anyways, it hurts my heart a bit to hear that because I know people need help, but there's only so much room in the shelter. And I think since post-COVID, it's just the intake crisis is just going, on and more and more. And we've intaked about 117 animals, plus our huge seizure of 70-ish Malteses, plus another seizure just in this month alone, never mind just the normal animals that we have in shelter. So yeah, I would say it's difficult times over here.
Absolutely, and, I mean, obviously, like, you guys are trying to get the best situation for both the person and the animal, kinda take care of both sides, and obviously that makes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's what I really want the community to know is that we're here for them, for the people and their animals. And we want to keep them together. Like, we don't want animals surrendered. And we've created all kinds of what we call diversion programs, which basically means like, what can we do to offer the person to be able to keep their pet? Whether it's, a food bank, if they've had job loss or they're, experiencing homelessness, we offer food to people on a monthly basis with no questions asked. We have programs for low income spay and neuter. So if people end up having a few animals and they don't want it to end up becoming more and more into a desperate situation, we can offer low income spay and neuter. We do low income grooming. We do everything we can to try to keep animals, at their best health and with their companion human.
Yeah, and something that you mentioned a minute ago was the Maltese that happened earlier this month. So, like, what is it like around the Humane Society right now? Seeing all these animals that it's like you wanna help, and you said it hurts your heart because it's like
Mhm.
that's somebody's like those are such precious little animals, and you wanna help them, but if you don't have the room or the means or kind of like what does that do, you
Yeah,
know?
so what we ended up having to do with the Maltese is kind of double caging them, which we don't like to do. We have what we call a capacity for care shelter model. And so what that means is we do a managed intake. And so by appointments to make sure that we have room for every single animal that comes in. Because we have a board policy that states and promises that we will never euthanize an animal for space. And so that's why we maintain the importance of managed intake. So we ended up double caging them. And in that shelter model, we don't typically do that. We like to have an animal have space separately to eat, sleep, play, and go to the bathroom. So kind of four quarters there. But it worked okay for them because they were small and they all are doing really, really well. Some had some medical needs in terms of having dentals and a cherry eye, and all of them had to be completely shaved. We weren't able to actually groom them in any way, so just a complete shave, and then we could see what we were dealing with under kind of the matted mess that they were. So I feel like our team really rallied to, and the public response to helping us with this was absolutely amazing. Like, we could not be more thankful. And the staff rallied and they made it happen. But, I know that they're tired. I see that they're tired. There's compassion fatigue that happens in this industry, just like it happens in healthcare and in other industries. And so, I know it's hard on the staff. And so what we're trying to do ultimately is make some legislative change that can, diminish things like puppy mills or backyard breeding, or, try to bring pet friendly housing to Winnipeg, so there's more room for animals and people aren't having to surrender them to move and all those kinds of things. So we are trying to think outside of the box to see what can we actually do at a high level to stop some of these instances from occurring. But it just takes time. But we are definitely working on it and super excited to make some big change here.
And if somebody wants to kind of, get more information of what you guys are doing, or maybe they're in a situation where they need to reach out for one of your programs that you were mentioning earlier, how's the best place that they can do that?
Yeah, a lot of our programs are run out of our intake department. So if they want to go to our website, they can call intake. Um, our food bank is run through community outreach, which is kind of like our education department. The easiest way is just to go to our website at winnipeghumanesociety.ca and look at our programs. You can click onto any program and it will give you the number or the email to get in contact with that department, and we can help you with whatever you need. Um, people may not realize that we see, things like safe pet as an emergency, but we do. We know that, when people have to leave, they do. And this person was obviously trying to do the best that they could in the circumstance. But had we spoke to them during the day, we could have given them better options and hopefully reunited them with their pets. And we are hoping that this person who did have to flee, is seeing some of these media interviews and knows that she could reach out to us, and hopefully they could be reunited one day when the situation is better.
Yeah, well, anyways, thank you so much, Jessica, for
Mm.
just sharing that and kind of informing the listeners of just, if they're in a situation that there is someone that is on their side and that wants to really reunite them with their pets, and it's kind of, yeah, on their side to make the best situations. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
we are 100% on their side, and I want people to know that, like we are a people and an animal place, the animal human bond is so strong, and we need to try to keep that going and keeping it together in any way we can. And so there's no judgment here. When you call us, we're here to try to help as best as we can. And when we're full, I know that it's so frustrating, but we will try to offer other resources that we can in the meantime.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much,
Mhm.
Jessica.
Thank you.